Knives is the best character, and she deserves better. Knives is cute, she's spicy, and she's not an ass. She's also one of the only characters that went through the greatest amount of growth, so let's talk about it. Knives Chaoyu, also known as Just Knives, is a free-spirited, kind 17-year-old with Chinese-Canadian descent, someone who's incredibly naive at the start of the series, and due to that naivety, she started dating 24-year-old Scott Pilgrim. Yeah, 24 years old. It would be hard to talk about Knives' character without talking about Scott's influence, so let's start there. Knives was a lonely person before she met Scott, someone with no friends except for this one girl. So when she found someone that brought her any joy, she attached herself. In her eyes, Scott was a man who was cool, honest, and kind. Unfortunately, he was none of those things. You know when you're having a conversation that you really don't feel like having, so you just nod your head in agreement, praying that they leave? That's what the entirety of the relationship felt like. Scott kept her around out of convenience. Like a game he could play, but to her it was something real, to her it was something meaningful. She loved and admired Scott, someone who had no business being there, which made the end of the relationship hurt even more for Knives. For her, it came out of the blue. For her, it was something unexpected. With all that emotion and frustration, where do you think it led? Do you know what jealousy is? It's that burst of anger you get when someone is living a better life than you. They have something that should be yours. I'm better, so why is it denied to me and that person gets to get it? That's what jealousy feels like. After the most realistic, toxic breakup I've ever seen, Knives was desperate for his attention. Shoot, even before then, she changed her clothes, her hair, she even became more bold, all for him. But it didn't work. After all, you can't convince someone to love you. Even after finding out the truth about being two-time cheated on, she still loved him and blamed all her misfortune on Ramona like a child. That's exactly what Knives is. It was an eruption of emotion she's never felt before, so of course she became jealous and bitter. Who wouldn't? And she had to direct those feelings towards someone. A lot of us have experienced this rage and anger and done things that we shouldn't have. She ended up dating a guy she never liked just to make Scott jealous. She went on a rampage to try to kill Ramona, and then she got the highlights knocked out of her hair. That has nothing to do with the jealousy part, I just thought that shit was pretty funny. Growing for the better after experiencing something traumatic and painful is no easy feat. It's hard to admit to yourself that you made a mistake somewhere and you need to improve. The moment Knives recognized this was in a dark alley talking to Scott. I love this scene mainly because the change is not instant. Here she still wanted to get together with Scott, but this started to change. Her style started to morph, her confidence grew, and she became someone better. When Knives turns 18, Scott asks the most despicable question like the rat he is. Do you want to have sex with me? Then Knives drops the coldest line in the entire series for me. I don't want you anymore. This sentence took 6 volumes to develop. She stopped living for him, she started to live for herself. Many of us need to start doing that. The main takeaway I took from Knives' story is that majority of us are naive. I'm naive. But don't let that blind you from the clear signs of something bad. And if you do, have the strength to recognize your mistake and grow from it. I'm glad that Knives didn't end up with anybody at the end of the series. It was the best conclusion to her character arc. Her growing by herself with the time that she needed. Plus, she was far too precious for this world and better than anybody else on the roster anyway. So, I appreciate you watching the video. Leave a like if you liked it, and I'm out.